Hey, it's Ellie. Welcome back to another video, or hello if you are new. Today I am back in Summit Sanctuary with a shorter video, mostly because this habitat doesn't have any crazy building or structure that I had to build alongside of it, like most of my habitats. So this is a strictly outdoor habitat for the Indian elephants, and it does have this sort of section here that is a guest hub, and I do eventually put in some seating for the animal talks, but as I said, otherwise no major structures in this habitat, so it's mostly just going to be some landscaping and some, habitat enrichment items and whatnot. And I don't remember if I do too much in this actual little guest hub that I'm working on in the beginning here. It was mostly, initially I was thinking I was going to leave it open, and then it felt too open, and I felt like I needed to decorate it somehow, and then I didn't know how I was going to decorate it, so it ended up being a little bit of a hodgepodge of sorts. Oh, and this, which I actually remove. Well, I was thinking about making this kind of cool glass dome arch circle. I don't know what to call it, but it actually does, it does fit. I will probably use this idea in another zoo, but I think for this one, it just didn't really work out for the kind of the look that I was going for, even though it did actually fit pretty well along the path that I already built, which was surprising. Did not think I was going to be able to get it to look that good, but yeah, I think there's something there. So I definitely, as I said, want to use that idea in a different zoo. It didn't end up in this one, but also feel free to, steal that idea and use it for something else as well. So what I'm doing here, I had this idea for like I don't even know what to call it, some kind of like structure, like a big, I just love these pieces, and I never know exactly what to do with them, because I feel like if they don't align just right, it looks weird most of the time because of the, the square frame around it. But I thought maybe if I sort of hid the messiness and made it like a roof piece, it might work okay as long as the guests weren't directly under it to look at it. So I ended up putting it in this elephant habitat, and I think it's pretty cool. It looks much better when it's all finished, I swear. It looks like a mess right now. I can certainly see that, especially with the bright pink piece. I do eventually change it all to be a single solid color, and it looks good from afar. It does. It looks good from afar. It would not, I think, look good anywhere else. But yeah, we are slowly working our way towards the end of this zoo. And I keep running out of things to talk about. Here's the problem, right? I only have so much time to record my voiceovers, so I tend to try to batch record them, and then what happens is I'm several videos in of recording, and I feel like I've talked about everything. These videos come out like 2 a week, so it's not enough. There's not enough time in between the videos for me to repeat myself like crazy without it being so annoying, especially if you're watching these in the playlist or something and you're watching them like back to back. Definitely definitely a lot of repeating going on. So sometimes I just don't know what to talk about because I've just been putting this piece down for like ages, you know? It's hard for me to gauge the interest level in my building versus just me chatting about Planet Zoo in general versus me chatting about random nonsense. I don't know. I know some people prefer just to talk about the build, and I try to do that when I can, but in cases like this, I'm like, what do I talk about? I've just been moving this one piece for like 3 minutes. It just gets a little tedious. I don't have anything else to say about that. But I also kind of at the same time feel like I've talked about my zoo a lot already, and I've talked about the zoos that I want to build. And that doesn't leave me much less left to talk about in terms of actual Planet Zoo content, so here we are. The new pack is coming out soon. I don't think there's a date for it, but it's gonna have a coyote and some kind of bird, like an ostrich-looking bird. I don't know, like a reese bird or something. People are very excited for it. I think I talked about this before, but I don't really get all that excited about whatever animals. I'm happy with anything. I like all the animals, and none of them really stand out to me as like a, oh, I just really wish that they had this animal in the game or that animal. I don't know, I typically don't feel like that. I was excited for the palace cat, and I think that's maybe the only animal that I've ever looked forward to because it was coming out, you know. I'm just happy with whatever. Honestly, I prefer the building packs to the animal packs. The animal packs are fine. The animals are fun. There's nothing to complain about in my eyes, but at the same time, there's nothing that I'm like jumping for joy over typically in an animal pack. So I do prefer to have the big packs with all the building items and stuff. Like the Zookeeper pack, that was actually a really good pack. It had the palace cat, right? But also those pieces, some of the pieces that came with it are fantastic. Like I'm gonna use some of those pieces so often. I just finished building the wedding reception area in my zoo here, and like I just straight up took the blueprint from the Planet Zoo, like from Frontier, for the tent, and I recolored it to have really pale pink and really, really pale green color scheme for the lanterns or whatever, and the ribbon and all that stuff, all the decor, and just the white tent. And it looks so good. It looks so good. It's perfect. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I started the Boston Zoo, the Franklin Rose Zoo? Is that it? Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name. I think so. And they had some kind of event when we went. It was like I think it was an autism run or something like that. And it was like the tail end of the event, right? Because they had the run in the morning. I'm assuming the run was through the zoo, which would be cool. That would be really cool, actually. And then also they had whatever activities and things afterwards in a huge tent. It looked exactly like the tent that they provided in the zoo, Planet Zoo, Zookeeper. And so I can actually make that very realistic to my experience when I was at the Franklin Rose Zoo. And I'm sure they have events there all the time. It seemed like a sort of open field where they they kind of designate it specifically for the event, or possibly also it might have been overflow for some of the petting zoo animals. I could also see that. I'm sure some of the goats and things are maybe back there or in that little fenced area. It's just like a normal wooden fence. Yeah. Um, so I haven't seen the elephants use this staircase yet, but I did build a little staircase to the back side of this habitat. And obviously I have those structures that I built at the beginning, but I didn't really, those were kind of the only two manufactured structures that I made in this habitat in particular. And I don't know why, but it just seemed to look better. In my head, it was more wild looking than some of the other habitats. Like, I kind of wanted it to... It's a very long habitat, and that was on purpose because I want you to be able to walk by it and kind of experience the whole habitat as you're walking on the path next to it. So it's not like many of my other habitats, not necessarily one that has a designated viewing area, though obviously there is that circular area, the guest hub with the eventual seating for the animal talk. Like, that will be a designated viewing area, but in this case it's kind of just along the whole path, so you can stop and look at it whenever you need to. And wherever the elephants are specifically as well is a huge thing. Because elephants are one of those, the animal is so big that you can, as long as you can kind of see it from where you are, you're gonna feel like you have a good view of it. But most of the elephant habitats that I've seen in zoos, they kind of are, they have like an overlook area so that you have a pretty wide view of all of the habitat. Whether it's the indoor section that they do that for or the outdoor section. Like in the zoo that's sort of nearest to me, the overlook is to the outdoor section and you can kind of see the entire habitat from that area. It's very, I think, yeah, my zoo actually has Indian elephants, I believe. Or the Asian elephants. Or are they the same? Now I can't remember. But yeah, I think I've talked about it before maybe once, but the zoo that's nearest to me actually was the first, I believe the first zoo in the United States to have a successful twin elephant birth. Or at least specifically for the elephant species that they have there. Twins in captivity are quite rare. I think they might be rare in the wild as well, but for whatever reason, they're quite rare in captivity, and it's unfortunately they do not have good success with keeping both of the twins alive after birth. It's probably just due to the strain that the mother is on and the, I don't know. Twins typically are not as large as single babies, and they often are also not as healthy initially because they are kind of fighting for very limited resources and of space in the womb. So yeah, I don't know why I said control. I think I've been watching too much Family Guy recently. Anyway. Yeah. Well, the video is just about over though, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. I post Planet Zoo videos every Tuesday and Saturday. I post the long dark videos every Thursday, and sometimes a bonus video on Monday. So look out for those if you're interested. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye!